Hey, I'm 35. I'm about to hit my first crore in the next few months, and I'm quite proud of it. But I spend about a lakh a month, so I'm not sure if I can retire on that. What I want to know is how much do I actually need?
Oh, that's a great question. Before I answer, let me share a story. In boarding school, a friend and I sat down and tried to think of how much money we would need to never work again. The number we came up with was similar to Anoop's, 1 crore. At that time, our most extravagant spending was at our school tuck shop. That was 200 rupees a week. And we felt like we would live a pretty low-key life, some camping trips here and there, eat home-cooked food, and thought that 1 crore would be enough. At that point, concepts like rent, vacations that are like super expensive, all of this seemed so abstract. 1 crore felt infinite. It's been 15 years since that day, and we were way off. Rent, groceries, a vacation or two every year. All of this adds up to so much more than two teenagers in a boarding school could have ever anticipated. Our caller Anoop is 35. He spends 1 lakh a month and has 1 crore in his corpus right now. Let's see what the math tells us and see if what he has is enough for him to retire. So the math is pretty straightforward. Anoop needs money for a 55-year retirement from age 35 to 90. Now, for his 1 crore, let's assume a 10% annual growth rate. And there will be a lifestyle inflation of about 6% every year. At those numbers, Anoop can only withdraw 36,000 rupees a month after he retires. Now, 36,000 rupees is not nothing. Plenty of people live on less than that in India. If Anoop is one of them, that's great. Or if he's willing to move somewhere cheaper, cut some travel, and just live more simply, that's a real choice he can make and it can work. But he said he spends 1 lakh a month. Now that's a life that he has built and presumably wants to keep. So at 1 lakh a month, the number that he needs to aim for today is 2.75 crores. And that's just the baseline. 2.75 crores assumes that his life stays roughly as it is, but a few things can push that number up. Let's take a look. Historically, middle-class Indian retirement spending holds at about 80 to 90% of pre-retirement spending. In Anoop's case, though, things might not really fall as much as he might have expected. The work commute might go away, but he might end up traveling more, or just generally live a fuller life, because he's still young, he's 35. The 2.75 crore assumption is built on the idea that he's going to spend 1 lakh a month for the rest of his life. If that spending goes up meaningfully in the first decade, this whole model breaks. 6% is roughly India's long-term CPI average. But if your spending skews towards healthcare, education, rent in a decent neighborhood, or eating out a lot, your real number might be much higher. Now, if there's a significant medical event where the bill spills over his insurance coverage limit, that money comes straight out of his retirement corpus. And not just that money, but it removes everything that money would have compounded into. If there are parents or kids that weren't accounted for in that 1 lakh a month, that again changes the equation dramatically. These expenses sit entirely on top of that 2.75 crore assumption. Parental care, medical expenses, and a child's education are multi-lakh obligations that only keep getting more expensive every year. Neither of these fits in a retirement corpus. They're separate compounding obligations and they need to be treated that way. Every year that he doesn't start, his target corpus grows with inflation, and the time available to compound shrinks. The gap doesn't stay the same while he waits, it widens on both ends. A 3-year delay isn't just a 3-year setback. It's a much larger number with much less time to reach it. So what can Anoop actually do now? He has 1 crore saved, but we've established that to continue his baseline life, he needs 2.75 crores. If that takes 3 years to build, he needs 3.3 crores. If he has parents or kids in the picture, that number shoots up dramatically. Here's how we would help him plan the rest of his life so he can close that gap sooner rather than later. So this is Anoop's gap analysis. This table answers one simple question. Is Anoop on track to fund his future goals? The top row shows how much money he'll need at different stages of life. The second row projects what his current existing liquid assets could become if they simply kept compounding. The difference between the two is his funding gap. Closing this gap happens through two forces working together. His current investments continue to grow, and his new monthly investments add to that corpus, helping it compound faster and catching up to that required amount. The monthly investments shown below each stage is the amount needed with an 8% annual step up to bridge that gap and keep the goals fully funded. 1 crore sustains someone who's spending 36,000 rupees a month for the next 55 years. Some people will genuinely be fine with that. Now, if 1 lakh a month is the life that Anoop wants to keep, then 2.5 crores is the number today. And that is before parents, before kids, and before anything else unplanned. He's at 1 crore today, and he's 35 years old. So that gap can be closed. But Anoop needs a real plan. That's exactly the kind of planning that we help with here at Fabits. We help you prioritize your life's most important goals and help you find the number that you need to reach to achieve them. We help you figure out where you are today and how you can get to where you want to be, and we help you get there as fast as you can.